come on down to Highbury, you can see Thierry Henry. He is the best player you will ever see. Thierry Henry. Now if you come on down to Highbury.
Hello and welcome back to From Dial Square to Where, a special episode with a special guest. And without further ado, it's Adrian Clarke. How are you, Adrian?
Good evening. Yeah, not bad, Andrew. Yeah, all good. Wasn't the best England performance, was it? We've just been watching that. It was
honestly,
yeah.
Had to be a Harry Kane penalty to rescue it at the end, didn't it?
Little bit fortunate, wasn't it? Yeah, I think on the balance of play, Germany was certainly the better side. But yeah, we'll take the draw.
Definitely, yeah. Serge Gnabry's not a bad little player, is he?
I've always liked him. I always liked him originally. I did,
Yeah.
And when he first come through, I thought he's a really exciting talent, confident at first team level, and he got injured, didn't he? At just the wrong time, and he couldn't get back in. And obviously, you look back, and it was a mistake to let him go. But yeah, it's quite exciting to be linked with him. Who knows whether something will happen, but. Yeah, I like him. He's a good player, very good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll come on to a bit of the transfer window, as we probably have to at this time of year, a bit later on, with some of the players we've been linked with. But yeah, I mean, we haven't spoken for a while. You've been on the show before, but it's great to have you back on board. Excuse me. Let's just have a little recap on your thoughts, really, about the season just gone. It promised so much towards the end, but we've run out of puff a little bit towards the end there. But overall, I mean, what's your thoughts about how it went?
Yeah, it's a hard one to judge, isn't it? I think overall the team did about par, I think, for what I thought they were capable of at the start of the season. I think fifth was kind of where I was predicting Arsenal would finish. I didn't think we'd finish behind Spurs, so that's a disappointment.
Yeah.
But no, I think given where the strength of the position we were in, the way that we didn't turn up for the games against Spurs and Newcastle, it's obvious to feel gutted about it, to feel really, really disappointed. But over the course of the season, there's no doubt the team improved pretty much in all areas. I think most of the new signings were very good. The football's better to watch. And we won a lot of games. I mean, but there are negatives. Obviously, we lost a lot of games. I think 13 is way too many to lose. And the bottom line, in my opinion, is that we were just too stretched in that second half of the season. The squad was too small, and we needed luck, and we didn't get luck in terms of injuries and suspensions. And it was asking too much, I think, of Saka, Ødegaard, Smith Rowe and co. to get the goals we needed to qualify for the top four. We're up against Spurs have got Kane and Son, and none of our strikers, managed to get, I think, more than 5 goals. So yeah, that's why we failed. But there's lots and lots of progress been made.
Exactly. I mean, do you honestly think, like a lot of Arsenal fans do, really, that it was the decisions in January not to bring anyone in that really cost us in the end? I think there's no doubt we needed more goals, obviously. You get the argument completely that you should not bring in someone that you don't really want just for the sake of an extra body. But it was just, like you said, we ran out of steam, and I think it was because of the lack of depth in the squad in the end. Really. So I think January, a lot of blame can go to that January window, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think if Arsenal had that window again, they'd do things very differently. I don't really have any arguments with what they did with Aubameyang. I think that was the right move for all concerned. But just, was it so last minute that they didn't have a plan in place to replace him or not? I would love to have brought in a striker. I think we really needed goals. It was obvious that Lacazette was playing okay but not scoring. Eddie Nketiah barely had any minutes. He didn't have a start in the first half of the season. So to rely on those two was a real risk, a massive gamble. And it didn't pay off, unfortunately. It was, but yeah, the decisions in January ultimately decided Arsenal's season. I think if we'd have shown a bit of sort of speculated to accumulate, taken a risk, paid over the odds potentially for someone that could have made the difference in that run in, then it would have been worth it clearly. And but look, they didn't do it, and hopefully that sort of that wallet that had the cobwebs on it in January will come out this summer, and we'll sign some real quality players.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, I was totally behind that Aubameyang decision. I think he wasn't scoring for us. People forget that he literally wasn't scoring for us anyway.
No,
virtually
his head wasn't in it anymore.
No,
he made his mind up that his future was elsewhere, and you could tell. You could always tell.
Of course, you can.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I think they did the right thing there, but you can't afford to let a player like Aubameyang go when he plays every week. Really, because that's what was happening, and not bring in somebody else, because the other guys weren't really trusted in the first half of the season, and ultimately you had to then call upon them late on when it really, really mattered. And I thought Eddie Nketiah did great in the last few games. Couldn't have done much better, but it was just too much of an ask for the young players to see it over the line, sadly.
Yeah. Do you think we'll find out a little bit about what happened with the Aubameyang situation in the Amazon documentary?
I think there's a good chance, don't you?
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? I think that's what I'm looking forward to.
When's the release date? I'm eagerly awaiting it. I hope I'm not in it. I don't think I will be.
Have you seen the cameras dotting around when you've been there?
Not massively. They're quite discreet, but yeah, they have been following the team around. I mean, I'm only really at Emirates on a match day, and I don't go up to Colney or anything. So no, I haven't followed it. Obviously, in the changing rooms, you can really tell. There's 100 mics. Not 100, but there are mics everywhere dotted around the changing room. There's some sort of cameras that you can spot. So the players would have been well aware that everything has been filmed. I'm led to believe that Amazon sort of want to get their hands on as much footage as they possibly can from on and off the pitch. So it'd be interesting to see what story they tell, won't it?
It really will. I mean, they usually come out just before the new season, so it can't be too long. About probably around the latter part of July, beginning of August, I'm thinking. But it will be very, very interesting.
It went on, didn't it, in the course of the season? So
yeah, it certainly did. I'm hoping it's not going to be like the Wenger documentary, the Wenger autobiography that everyone was anticipating for so long, and then when it came out, it was quite, disappointing, wasn't it? Really, nothing really came out of it. So I'm just hoping it's not going to be like that and too sort of whitewashed.
I mean, I think Arsenal probably have. I don't know how much editorial control the club would have on it. That would be interesting to sort of know.
It would, yeah.
Often, let's be honest, it's going to show the club in the best light possible. I think you've seen that with the other documentaries, but there've been some compelling storylines. And look, for me personally, I don't get to see the team talks, what goes on inside the changing room and on the training ground. So yeah, I'm fascinated to learn, like everybody else, a little bit about how Mikel Arteta and the players operate. Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a must watch, that's for sure.
No, exactly. I'm looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to it. So, I mean, let's have just one last thing about last season, really, is the performance of Mikel Arteta. And I'm sure when he looks back, he will think that he could have done some things better. I think he did a lot of good things throughout the season as well. There's always the concern about the performance of the team, obviously, when we go behind. Very, very poor situation there. How much could he really affect that? Don't really know, to be honest with you. But overall, he's had a new contract, which I'm pleased about personally. But let's get your thoughts on him. What would you grade the season for him out of 10?
Yeah, I think it's steady progress. Positives and negatives. I don't know. It's probably a 6.5, maybe a 7. I think he's done just fine. There should be no speculation, in my opinion, about his job. I think it's steadily going up. We can all see with our own eyes the team are better now than they were. So the quality of the football's higher, no doubt about that. It's faster, it's more fluid. He's trusted the young players, which has been good. The new signings, I think the bulk of them, not every single one, but most of them have fitted in brilliantly, and we're led to believe that he's had a big say in who we recruited. So he's got a lot of those calls right, and we've won a lot of games. But you have to say you can't look beyond the 13 defeats. We've got to be harder to beat. That is for sure, and it is that in-game management, isn't it? Being able to turn around a difficult situation. That's what I'm always criticising Gareth Southgate, and it's obviously topical because of tonight. But
me too.
Come back into in fairness, tonight they came back into the game. The subs had a positive impact, and they scrambled a bit of a lucky draw. But his actions did actually help the team in the second half. That's not been the case that often with Gareth Southgate, and I've been critical of him. So on that front, you have to look at Mikel Arteta and when we've been 1-0 down, has he been able to turn it around? No, is the answer. I think, one win and 12 defeats. I think only 3 goals scored from 1-0 down. Really, really poor record. And a lot of that falls on the players, clearly. It really screams that players are inexperienced, unable to sort of have the know-how to change things in a positive way. But you need that direction from the manager. And you also need some of his decisions in terms of substitutions, tactical tweaks mid-game to come off and really change the flow of the game. And that hasn't happened really often enough. And he'll know that himself, won't he? The stats are there, laid bare before him. So that's the one area I think he will look at himself and say, look, we've got to get better, and I will get better. So, he's done okay, just as the team have done okay. It's been a pretty good season, one of sort of steady development, but we're all gutted that we didn't make top 4. So it's hard to really be that effusive in your praise of the team or the manager on the back of what happened, because in the 2 biggest games of the season, at Spurs and at Newcastle, the team produced 2 of their worst performances, and that reflects on everyone, doesn't it, really? They'll be looking at themselves, no doubt, this summer, and hopefully the fire will burn strong and they'll come back better. Yeah,
no, absolutely. It feels different than the season under Unai Emery, where we just fell short, to me, anyway. I mean, we fell short by 1 point that season as well, obviously, with a similar capitulation at the end of the season.
Yeah.
That was probably, I don't know, you won't remember, but when we did that Mesut Island Discs show that you were on, I said it was the lowest I've ever felt as an Arsenal fan at that point, and it really, really was. And that's saying something, because I'm not a young guy anymore. I've followed Arsenal for a long time, but I felt so gutted at that point under Unai Emery, the end of that season. But this season, the same thing has happened, but I don't feel anywhere near as down, because you can see the trajectory of the club. You can see what they're trying to do. He's had so much spring cleaning to do with this squad, hasn't he? And he's completely changed the squad. It's completely unrecognisable than it was from what it was back then. And we've got a lot of young, exciting talent, which I'm looking forward to seeing develop again next season. And I think that's what makes it so much different to me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do. I feel quite positive about it. Most of the players are in their early 20s, aren't they?
Yeah.
And normally players in their early 20s, as long as they're really good players with strong mentalities, get better. So we've already seen it, haven't we? Saka gets better year on year. Odegaard, big step forward, I thought, this year compared to the loan. I wasn't sold on him, I have to be honest. When he was on loan, there were some great bits, but there were some really ineffective parts as well. And, I wasn't totally sure he was the right signing. I now believe he was. Excellent campaign from him. Smith Rowe had a breakthrough season. Ramsdale, spectacular, really. So loads of players that are going to get better, and Arteta will get better as well, because he's a rookie learning on the job as well. What we want now is a bit more from the senior players, and maybe that's where we're looking to recruit players that have a bit more experience, that are a few years older, not old, but more towards their mid-20s, where they're really at the peak of their powers, where they've maybe won things in the past. Those are the type of players I think that this team needs now. You can't rely on 20, 21-year-olds the whole season to get you over the line, I don't think, anyway, in terms of the goal output. and game management. So yeah, we need a bit more from the senior players next season.
Do you? I mean, talking about that's a good sort of way to move on really to the summer business that we're looking at doing, and everyone's talking about it. Obviously, it's the same every single year. But excuse me, got a bit of hay fever. It's still lingering on, even though it's the evening. But
oh no, me too. Yeah.
it's been quite bad last couple of days. But where do you think that the team really needs to strengthen? First and foremost, clearly the striker situation.
But if I sat here and said everything apart from strikers, you just think I'm an idiot. You cut me off. Yeah, I mean we need to.
But I mean, one thing with regards to that, do you think we need to bring in two? Because the concerning thing I've got with that is, well, it's not concerning. It's just a slight worry, I suppose. It's the situation that we had when we brought in Aubameyang and Lacazette within 6 months of each other. Now, that didn't work out very well at all. And the way that we play under Mikel Arteta, it doesn't seem to sort of lean towards a traditional striker. I think he's looking much more at the Man City model, which is why I've been speaking about Gabriel Jesus for quite a long time on this show as the type of player that he would like to bring in. And I think it would be like a hand-in-glove type of signing, really. I think he'd be absolutely ideal for us. So what are your thoughts about that striking situation and whether we do need to bring in two sort of high-profile strikers or whether we would just bring in one and maybe another wide player, maybe, for example?
Yeah, no, I think two forwards. At the moment, we've only got Eddie Nketiah, haven't we, really? And following Balogun. So I think given that we're back in Europe, the fixtures, there'll be an opportunity to rotate strikers. And do you know what? I've always thought that the one part of the pitch where I think managers should rotate is up front because it's so explosive. You need your strikers to be in prime condition to make those, especially if you want them to press, which Mikel Arteta definitely does. Yeah. It's hard work. And 1 week, it might be one guy that plays 60, 65 minutes. They come off. The other one of equal quality comes on and makes a difference. And then you can flip it around. And you've also got Eddie Nketiah there as well. I feel strongly that we need two strikers, but that's not to say that they've just got to be number nines. I personally I'd be happy to have a Gabriel Jesus for sure, because I think he's a really good player, much better than what we've got. But he can play out wide, can't he? So you could potentially, if you did bring in Gabriel Jesus and a more traditional number 9, who that might be, I don't know. Been linked with Scamacca. I don't know too much about him. Calvert-Lewin's a name that's been linked for a long, long time. If you had what you regard as a number 9 centre forward and a Gabriel Jesus, I think that gives you a lot of options. You've got to think, when we've got quality out wide, haven't we? In Saka, in Smith Rowe, Ødegaard puts good balls into the box. Tierney, when he's fit, whips balls into the area for fun. We don't have people that are great at attacking crosses. I think that someone of height, someone with a bit of a stature, physical presence, will be a real big asset to us. You're right, Mikel Arteta hasn't gone that way at all until now. But he was kind of lumbered with Aubameyang and Lacazette, but they were there. And it wasn't an easy situation for him to change. So, I think one tall striker and a Gabriel Jesus type, for sure, it would be on my hit list. And look, if we can get someone like a Serge Gnabry as a winger who can also play up front, then it's a bonus.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like Nicolas Pepe is going to be sticking around, is it? No. He's had his chances and looks like he's going to be moved on if there can be a buyer for him, obviously. So it's whether, we do bring in someone to replace him as well. I mean, moving into midfield, I mean, I absolutely love the link to Zinchenko as well. For me, another perfect hand-in-glove type of fit for our team. And he would be the replacement for Xhaka. If you think about it, I've heard this on another podcast and I can't remember which one it was, but I was thinking the same thing. if you think about where he plays on the pitch, that's where Xhaka plays.
Mm.
You know, in that sort of left side of midfield, he can play sort of a bit further up front, but obviously left back as well, and within that space of the pitch, that's what Xhaka is there for. So, I mean, if you're talking about an upgrade for Granit Xhaka, then I think he'd be an absolutely incredible player for that. I mean, he's been wonderful. Obviously, Premier League experience, Premier League proven. He works in the Manchester City way, which is obviously the way that we're looking to move forward to. I think everyone's so. Obviously, he knows him as well. Mikel Arteta is not going to be someone that's new to him, so I think he'd be a great buy. But again, we'd link with Yuri Tillemans, another player I really, really like, very much so. And people are wondering whether they could both play in the same team. Well, obviously, I think that they probably could. I mean, I think that Yuri Tillemans could play that left 8 role that, you know, Granit Xhaka was fulfilling at some point. I mean, what are your thoughts about what we should be doing in the midfield area as well?
Yeah, it is really interesting. I definitely feel we need 1 or 2 additions. The Zinchenko link, completely agree with you. I think, obviously, if Tierney's out, he would be a much better guy to step in at left back if we were playing orthodox style. But you're right, and if we go in that 4-1-4-1 or 4-3-3 formation that we were playing with Partey at the base, Ødegaard to the right, and Xhaka to the left, where it was a little bit unusual to see Xhaka in that position. But what happens is that Xhaka spends half the time at left back anyway in that position, doesn't he? Because of the way that we play out and Tierney pushes on. So yeah, you could in theory have Zinchenko inside of Tierney or just propping him up, and I think that would be fantastic for the balance of the team. Yeah, Granit Xhaka is still a very good player, and he has a lot to offer. So I don't think we're in a desperate need to upgrade him, but I think to put ourselves as contenders for top 4, we need strength in depth. We need 4 or 5 quality players as options in central midfield. And at the end of the season, we were really down to the bare bones, weren't we? So, yeah, I think that there's a place for Tielemans. He's a box-to-box guy. It would balance out, wouldn't it, if you had Partey or Xhaka at the base and Ødegaard and Tielemans either side. That's a really nice balance, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I think that Xhaka and Lokonga really should be the ones competing with Partey for that base. We need that athleticism and power to press, to go and press as well properly. We need real legs in those 2 central midfield positions. Ødegaard's got it. We know that. He's brilliant at that.
Definitely, yeah.
On the other side, it's up for grabs. I have to say that Tielemans isn't brilliant at that. I would say if it's one weakness...
He's not the best at tracking back, no.
No, if there's one weakness about him, he hasn't got a phenomenal engine. I think he's great on the ball. He's a goal-scoring midfielder. He's got a lot of class about him. But, yeah, your tracking back isn't brilliant, and he can be a bit slow to go and engage. So that might put Arsenal off. We'll have to wait and see.
That's why Zinchenko is great, by the way.
Zinchenko's perfect in that position.
Absolutely great at that.
Yeah. So that I'd probably lean towards Zinchenko over Tielemans, I have to say, but I'd be very happy with one or both. Obviously, we don't know what the situation is with Basuma and the sort of court case that he's involved in, but he keeps being linked with Arsenal, and I think he wants to be linked with Arsenal.
He's being linked again today, isn't he?
Yeah, as a footballer, I do again think that he would be a real asset to us. He's 100%. A brilliant ball winner. He goes and presses superbly, and he can play as well. So look, these I've got to be honest. All of the players that we've been linked with, I really like.
This is exactly what I'm thinking. This is what I really like about this window so far. Touch wood, is that all the stronger links, and you know that you can trust more than not. You know, in linking players to us, are really, really interesting players so far.
We want to do the business earlier, though. I think our habit over the years has been to leave it too long, and things drag out into sagas, and we end up missing out. I would like us to sort of really get things done early, because Mikel Arteta needs that time with him.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's got his own set style, and it will take time for new players. Obviously, the City boys less so, but it will take time for newcomers to adjust. So, yeah, the earlier that we can get the business done this summer, that absolutely the better. Just get it done. I want to hear about a transfer that we don't hear a rumor about as well, something under the radar.
Yeah,
We
I
don't
love
seem
that.
to have that too often these days, but I'd love that to happen, because it's a competitive market, and Arsenal need to be very, very smart and shrewd in the way they operate in their recruitment. And it's a big summer, really big summer.
It's more important than ever to get the players in early, though, this year than ever before, literally, because the season starts so much earlier.
Yeah.
On the 6th of August, I believe, it starts. And then, obviously, you've got all the Europa Cup games before the World Cup as well. So if you leave it till the end, because I think the window closes still on the 1st or 2nd of September, if you leave it till then, you would have missed maybe...
4 or 5
I don't know.
games. 3 or 4, 4 or 5, yeah.
Well, at least because you've got a cup game thrown in there as well, Carabao Cup, plus probably maybe 1 or 2 Europa League games as well.
Exactly. It makes complete sense. There will always be business done at the last minute, because that's where you can maybe save a little bit of money, but or make a bit of money if you're selling. But yeah, no, we need to get the players done nice and quickly. Get them involved on the tour. Obviously, they're going on a tour, aren't they? Going over to America. I think they're going to Germany as well, aren't they? For one game. These are really important times. That's when you really bond as a squad and you get to know each other. And I think it's great to have 2 or 3 new faces in with the group when they go on that pre-season tour. So, yeah, fingers crossed that Edu and the team can get some over the line sharpish.
I wonder which of our players is going to refuse to get on the plane to America this time.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully not. They're not going to get much of a break, are they? That's for sure. I mean, guys like Saka,
Well, Saka's played did he play the full 90 today? I can't.
No, he came off in the second half.
I did. Thankfully, I wasn't keeping too much attention to it.
No, it was. I think he was the only Arsenal player that was involved tonight. But yeah, he nearly scored a great shot, didn't he, in the first half?
Brilliant shot, yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. There was another one that had the keeper save, but he didn't get enough of the ball, Bukayo Saka. But look, we know about him. We know he's a class act. We know he'll be ready for the start of next season. So yeah, it's all good on that.
Another good segue, really, about another player I wanted to talk to you about, and that's Flo Balogun, who scored 2 goals today for the under-21s. Played simultaneously to the full side. I think we were winning 3-0 last time I checked. Smith Rowe played the first 60 minutes as well. He scored the other night as well. Excellent. But yeah, another 2 goals for Balogun today. Now, I'm of the sort of thought processes that going through my head, really. I think we should keep hold of Balogun until January and then loan him out again in January. Now, that's a bit of on one hand, I would absolutely love him to get a full season on loan somewhere. But on the other hand as well, if depending on whether we do bring in 2 big, strikers, because we've got so many games, he could play like the Europa League games, he could cover for people if they were injured, etc., play the Carabao Cup games. Because I think we're going to be short. I can't see us bringing in this ideal world where we're talking about bringing in 2 strikers. I don't know whether that's going to happen. If it does, brilliant. Then send him on loan. But otherwise, do you think as well that it'd be a good idea to keep hold of him? Maybe plus 1 or 2 of the other young players that are coming through to see us through until January, because I think it's going to be mad in the early stages of the new season.
Well, we loaned too many out last year. I think that much was clear for all to see. We could have, not saying he would have made a brilliant difference, but someone like Maitland-Niles, that loan was really done as a favour to him, wasn't it? Or at least felt that way. And we could have done with him on the bench, couldn't we, in the second half of the season when, there were 3 or 4 youth players really there that weren't ever likely to come on. So I think, maybe we should loan fewer players out this time around. And that probably will happen because we're in the Europa League. On Balogun, I'm still sort of wedded to the idea of having two new strikers, in which case he 100% needs to go out on loan. I just think for his development as a player, he's at that key age, coming out of his teens into his early 20s, he's got to play, in my opinion. And the best way for him to improve is to play competitive football. And he's not going to get a lot of competitive football if he sticks around at Arsenal without going on loan. That's what I think for his development as a striker, he should go on loan, possibly a season loan. But you've got to be careful about where you send him. See, at Middlesbrough, he was in and out of the team.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think it probably goes down as a slightly disappointing loan spell, even though he had some great moments. I still believe in him. I think he's got potential to really develop, but he's not ready. I think that loan spell at Middlesbrough showed us that he's not ready to make a difference at Arsenal first team level yet. In a year's time, he might be. So, personally, I would look to loan him out.
Yeah, I was just thinking more about the Europa League group games.
But then, if Eddie Nketiah is not getting as much game time as he hopes, that will be the competition that he's looking to sort of make a name for himself in, isn't it? And let's be honest, we want to win it. We don't want to mess around in that competition.
Absolutely.
I would imagine.
Do.
I don't think Mikel Arteta will rotate unbelievably heavily. I think he'll put strong teams out in the Europa League because it's an important competition.
I would love us to win it. We've, as a club, we all know that we could have done a lot better in Europe throughout the years. I mean, it's still one of my greatest memories of my, youth when we won the Cup Winners' Cup, and I loved nights like that. And I would love us to win the Europa League. And I think when you look at the teams in the quarterfinals this year, it really pains me to think we weren't in it this year because we could have had another great chance. And we've been in it, 3 times? I think we've had 2 semi-finals and a final, haven't we? And maybe we can go one step further this year.
We were unlucky in a way because some real heavyweights were in it every time we went deep.
Exactly,
So did a number of real heavyweights. Like you say, this year, I mean, you would have backed us to beat Rangers or Frankfurt, in my opinion.
Definitely.
It was probably the year to be in the competition, but it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. But yeah, we got to try and make it count, haven't we? And double our chances of getting Champions League football.
Yeah.
So no, I'm excited to be back in it. I love cups. I've always loved cups. I think fans love cups. Pretty much all of my best memories, because I wasn't really around the club. I wasn't working with the club when we were winning all those titles, particularly. So I was watching on from afar. But I've been at a lot of the cup finals Arsenal have won down the years when I was a player, and also in recent times. And they're unbelievable memories. I love it, and I think there's more excitement around winning a cup or a trophy than finishing 3rd or 4th, in my opinion. I just think it's so much more exciting. It's great for money, Champions League football, but the bottom line is I think memories are more important. I want us to try our hardest to win all 3 cups that we're in next season.
Yeah, I do as well. Totally agree with you. Other big news we've had the last few days is finally had a bit more clarity over William Saliba. Yeah. I think this is all our fans wanted to hear for so long, to have a bit more clarity, both from the manager, who obviously said it beforehand, and then this interview that William Saliba did at the weekend, saying that yes, he is an Arsenal player. He does want to come back. He does want to fight for the shirt, which is great news. Now it's just a lovely problem to have, but how do you see it sort of panning out, really, when we've had such a good partnership at the back for the first time in ages, in my opinion, in White and Gabriel? He's going to have his work cut out getting in there, and I just hope that he's not going to start throwing his toys out the pram thinking he's going to walk into the team straight away, because I would love him to be up for the fight and say, no, I'm going to dislodge one of you guys, and when I get into that team, I'm going to keep my place. That's the sort of attitude we all want, obviously. It's unlikely we're ever going to see them all play together, because I don't think Mikel Arteta is particularly keen on playing the back 3. So how do you see it sort of panning out moving
It's an
forward?
option, isn't it? I mean, if he comes, then we've seen him late on in games go to a back 3. So and I think it would be nicely balanced, actually, if you had Saliba, White and Gabriel. But I don't think that would be the first choice system. But I think initially, if everyone's fit, White and Gabriel start the season, because by and large they were very, very good, weren't they, last year? It was a good partnership.
Very much so, yeah.
But Ben White will be sweating because Saliba is a class player and he plays in his position, doesn't he, on the right side? And
obviously he's going to want some kind of assurances, because we're in another situation. Sorry to cut in. My mind is just going whilst we're talking, but obviously he's on 2 years left of his contract, so we need to sort of be looking at giving him an extension. But if you put yourself in his position, would you sign an extension now? I don't think you would. I mean, you'd want to see how it pans out, whether you are going to get the games that you're looking for. And when you consider the fact that he's just broken into the France national team and he will want to keep that place for the World Cup, a lot of players will in the opening part of the season. They will want. It's another reason why I think we need to make the signings quick, because and I think the players will want that as well, to settle quickly so they can get their places and keep the places for the upcoming World Cup in the winter. But when you're in his positions, he's not going to want to relinquish that France spot as well. So he's going to want to be playing week in, week out. So it's going to be quite tough, really, isn't it?
This is Arsenal. Like, no one gets a guaranteed spot. Like, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. It doesn't. It just like, you've got to be good. You've got to deliver, Andrew, and that's the key. Look at Liverpool. Right, you've got great players all over the pitch, great players on the bench. Thiago, good example. He's not guaranteed to play. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. Look at Joel Matip, one of the best centre halves in the Premier League last season. Barely put a foot wrong. Dropped for the Champions League final for Canate. It's not personal. It's just that he got two great options there, and he's gone with one above the other. And Canate was excellent in the game. That's the situation we've got to be emulating, in my opinion. You've got to keep the players on their toes and drive up the standards. And if players are going to throw their toys out of the pram and not want to be part of that competitive environment, get rid. That's my feeling.
I totally agree. Yeah, this is what I've been talking about for quite a long time and for previous shows. That is my opinion as well. Exactly my opinion. I don't know too much about William Saliba. It's just what you read in the press. It's just what you hear through the grapevine. Obviously, social media. You know, you can't believe an awful lot from what you see on that. Goes without saying. But I just hope
himself, hasn't he?
I hope he has got that sort of mentality, Adrian. That's what I'm talking about. Because if he hasn't, then I don't think he is the right. Maybe
if he hasn't mentality, he's not going to have a great career. He's not going to fulfil his potential.
It's happened with other players that we've had, isn't it? Guendouzi and Elka in the past. Their mentality has ruined their careers in some ways.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be willing to embrace it. If you want to play for a club like Arsenal, you know you got to fight for your place, and you know you're up against someone really good in your position. It's just how it works. And Saliba, when he comes back, has got to show Arteta that he's better than Ben White. It's as simple as that. And if he can, Arteta will pick him. I'm sure of it, because it's in the manager's best interest to pick the form players, the ones that can deliver. So I think it'd be really healthy for the three centre backs and Rob Holding to sort of all compete together. Also, I think there will be opportunities for Saliba or White at right back.
Yeah.
Because as we've seen with Tomiyasu, he's had a lot of injuries. Now, hopefully they're all behind him come next season. But if they're not, then I think that White or Saliba at right back is probably a slightly better option than Cedric. So they might get some game, and it might be more of a back three than in the way that we play. So I think that there'll be times where they both play, and that'd be great.
It will. It'll be very exciting, and I don't like to sort of look at things on that slightly negative side. Think things that could go wrong. Let's just think of the things that could go right. You know,
and also cover yourself in case things go wrong, and that means having good players competing with each other. And I just think whenever I hear about players that they're upset that they're not getting enough game time, well, you got to be better than the guy in your position. It's a tough game. It's a really ruthless industry, football. I've been there, and I didn't worked ever so hard to get to the Arsenal first team level, managed to get a few games, couldn't quite stay there. Unfortunately, it's because it's a ruthless business, and you've got to keep delivering, and every professional footballer knows that. And if they don't want to embrace it, then they're probably in the wrong sport or the wrong game. So, I think that Arteta, when he talked about changing the culture, I think that he's trying to get a squad full of players that have the attitude that I'm talking about, that are all on the same bus or the boat. I can't remember what analogy he used. I think it was on the boat, wasn't it? And you got to be on that same page and be proud to wear the badge and fight for your shirt. And if you get 10 minutes or 90 minutes, just give it your best. And I don't really see any issues there with the players that are here now. I think that some of the bigger egos, some of the guys that maybe wouldn't have been content sitting on the bench, have now gone, and so that's probably healthy as well.
That's one of my biggest gripes in the whole of football, to be honest with you, is when players leave a club at the end of the season saying, "Yeah, we want to leave for Champions League football." When you're in a position that we've been in the last 2 or 3 years, where we've been 1 or 2 points short, and they are the players that didn't get us Champions League football because they didn't score any goals, for example, then that really grinds my gears, to be perfectly honest. You hear the words come out of Lacazette's mouth saying he wants to leave to go to a club that's got Champions League football. When he's only scored 6 goals all season, and it looks like he's gone to a club that hasn't even got Champions League football. Anyway, just getting a bit of a gripe off my chest there. But next season, I'm worried that one other thing is that this was such a good opportunity the season gone by, because obviously no one could have predicted how poor Man United were, for example. And we had a chance to sort of nip in there. But what's your thoughts about the competition we're going to come up against next season? Because I'd love to see. Well, I really can't wait to see how Ten Hag gets on at Man United in some ways, because I can't help but thinking he's a wonderful, wonderful coach, but at the wrong club. I just think that the way that he achieved his success at Ajax, which was brilliant. Played wonderful football. I love that team that he had. But it's just completely chalk and cheese when you look at that team and the way they develop players to what Man United are. So I'm really fascinated as to how he gets on. But we're going to have more competition than ever, I think, next year. I think it's going to get worse and worse every season as each season progresses, with the way that these clubs are going to be battling it out. So how do you see next season going realistically for Arsenal?
It's going to be tough. We've got to keep ahead of the pack, haven't we? We've got to. That's why I think spending money, what money we have, I think we should be spending it on the right players, and I think that is really, really important, because our rivals will. Man United will be better. I'm pretty sure of that. They couldn't be much worse. Let's face it. They were shocking last year. I think Ten Hag has got a heck of a job on his hands, though. It could be, 2 years before they're really ready to compete. I think we're capable of finishing above them next season, regardless of, the managerial change. Chelsea will be interesting, obviously. How much are they going to invest with the new era? They're going to lose a lot of defensive players, aren't they? So that might impact them maybe earlier on in the season in particular. So it might be an opportunity to be closer to Chelsea. Newcastle are the ones that kind of worry me, because we saw how good they were. I mean, as bad as we were at St James's Park, they were outstanding. I thought it was a really terrific performance. And if they can maintain that level with better players, because they will, they're going to sign better players, then they will be top 8 next season easily, I think. And it's another team we've got to fend off. Like West Ham, I'd back us to finish above West Ham for sure. Leicester as well, but these are clubs that have money now. They have a good pull.
Aston Villa, they're going to get better, I think.
Excellent managers. The top half of the division is very strong. So no, it's not a given that we're going to be third, fourth, or fifth. I mean, no one's thinking we're going to be top two, but we are capable of it. And I think that the squad showed over the course of the season just gone that we're capable of achieving a top four finish and capable of winning trophies. Because I would put that on an equal standing, if not a greater standing. As I said earlier, winning a trophy has to be as high a priority, in my opinion, as finishing third or fourth. So yeah, we're good enough, but it will be stiffer competition. That's why we have to be really flex our muscles in the coming weeks and months, and just send out a message that, okay, we didn't make Champions League, but we're Arsenal. Look at the players we can attract. Because let's face it, we are the biggest and best club in London. I know we're biased, but we are the one that they really want to play for. I'm convinced of it because of the history, because of the style of football, because of the Arsenal have class about them, and I think we have a real pull. A lot of the players, the younger players, grew up idolising Wenger's teams. And a lot of them are Gooners, aren't they? We find that out, don't we, over time? And it's I don't think we should sell ourselves short. We are still a big pull, but we have to do our work and negotiate well and persuade them to come on board ahead of potentially maybe earning a little bit more money elsewhere.
Yeah, because for me, I think if you're going to go into an apprenticeship, for example, in any industry, there may be, I don't know, between sort of 3 years long, an apprenticeship, maybe from start to finish. Yeah. And for me, that is what Arteta has had now at Arsenal. So I don't think there's any reason or a fallback for him to say that he's a new manager anymore. He's only just come into the job. He's still learning the process. I'm sure every manager is still learning throughout their careers at some level. But I don't think you can call him a wet behind the ears new manager anymore when he's like 3 years into the job near enough.
No, that's fair.
So I think he has to deliver this season, doesn't he?
Yeah, you've got to prove that. Obviously, we had some good success stories, some good wins against some big teams this year, and some excellent performances. Obviously, we lost to City at home, but it was a great performance.
Yeah.
So our home form against the top teams was by and large good, wasn't it? Very good at times. It is those away games, isn't it? It's going to Anfield and winning, or getting a well-deserved draw and going toe-to-toe with a team like that. It's going to the Etihad and not getting smashed every time. It's going there and outthinking Pep, isn't it? And these are the moments where he'll gain in credibility. Because other teams do go to City in particular on occasion and win. Palace, was it Palace did it last year? I think Palace did it last year.
They were unbeaten against them home and away, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So Vieira's got that scalp already, and I think Mikel Arteta, will be looking to take some scalps this season. He has to really, the whole rookie thing is probably run its course now. He's had some experience, enough experience, and we've got to take the team forward. I think we have gradually improved. I think the step up from the previous season to this season was quite sizable, actually, in terms of quality. So we're looking for a similar jump this year. And if we find that jump, we will be in the top four. So we've got to get over 70 points. We've got to lose, I think, no more than 7 or 8. That's we've got to cut down on those defeats, and we've got to be better away from home, haven't we? And these are all things that I'm sure he'll be working on. So it's crunch time, definitely for him. I think that the team is in the right place now. They're all still young and improving, but they're old enough to have had experiences. They know what it takes now, and they've made mistakes at the back end of the last season. It's about learning from that now and improving, isn't it? And that's what we want to see. If we do, we'll get the objectives.
Absolutely. Well, I've just noticed the time. I've just literally been rambling on and doing this as, like it's been one of my normal shows. Excuse me. And I just can't really, really apologetic that you've kept you so long.
Oh, don't worry about that. No, honestly, not an issue. No, not worried about the time. Don't worry.
Oh, that's good. But I had a bit of a shock today. I've just found out as well that Kevin Betsy has left the under-23s to take over at the Crawley job, which is fantastic for him. You know, I'm really, really pleased for him. It's an opening for you, mate. You could go and take over under-21s. That'd be a good job. But yeah, I wonder who's going to come back in. I'd love to see Freddie Ljungberg come back in. I don't know about you, but I mean, I don't know whether you'd come back after the way he left last time. I think his nose was put out of joint a little bit.
I don't know what happened, but yeah, it didn't seem like the best departure. I think he wanted to but he hasn't really had the opportunity elsewhere, has he? So
we'd love to see him come back.
Yeah, it'd be great, but I don't know. I think they're probably somebody in-house. They've got so many promising young coaches within the club. They can obviously go out and headhunt someone that's a specialist at that level. It might be wiser, given the trend now, because you're seeing it right across English football. So many of these development coaches, like Kevin, are being headhunted for first-team jobs right across the EFL. It's so in vogue. It might be worth getting someone a little bit older that won't be in that category. We'll have to wait and see, because you ideally want to be chopping and changing your under 21, because it's going to be under 21s next season, is it, rather than 23s, and you don't want that coach to keep changing. But yeah, I know Kevin a little bit, and he's a good lad, very good coach, and wish him the best of luck. It's a brave move, because it's a blimmin' good job being Arsenal's reserve manager, really, and it's a pretty safe job. Not that much pressure, fun, I would imagine, because you're working with some real quality players.
The best you can ever control.
Yeah, to then go to Crawley, whereas let's be honest, you're not going to get the best of everything at Crawley like he does at Arsenal, and where results are everything. It's bold and it's brave, and it might go pear shaped. You never know, but yeah, good on him for taking the plunge. But yeah, Arsenal will be fine. They'll have someone in mind, I'm sure, already.
Yeah, and it's really good for Steve Bold as well. Just quickly mention as well for him getting a good job over in Holland. I'm really pleased for him as well.
Oh, definitely, he's a great lad, Boldy. Yeah, and I think he just fell out of love with it a bit. It sort of was quite taxing for him in the end. Being involved at first and level all those years, and maybe he didn't have the input that he wanted. So he's got the chance to be a number one now, and yeah, wish him well. He was a great player to play with. He's a good person, and he's a very good coach. He's helped develop a lot of great players at Arsenal down the years. So we'll have a team to watch in Belgium now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wish him all the very best. I love Steve Bold. So yeah, I think we'll leave it there then. I just want to thank you again for your time. Sorry to keep you so long, but thanks for your graciousness there. Hope to see you again very, very soon. Have you got much coming up that you'd like to sort of talk about in the near future? I mean, you're still continuing with the podcasting and stuff that you've been doing?
Yeah, pretty busy. Obviously, the summer's a lot quieter. Don't really know what's happening next season yet. One thing I can say is that the Breakdown Live, which is the match day show on Arsenal's website, on Arsenal's app, which I'm involved in every week. We're having a sort of relaunch. It's going to be quite exciting, actually. The show's going to be an hour long ahead of kickoff, going from team news right up to the game. And we're moving studio. We're not going to be in a green screen studio anymore. We're going to go out into the bowl in one of the boxes. I think it's going to be a little studio audience. It's going to be really fun. We're going to try and grab one or two celebs or former Arsenal players during the course of each show as well, just to sort of get more of a match day flavour, particularly in the home games. So as well as the analysis, of course, that they've sort of got me in to do. So watch out for the Breakdown Live. It's going to come back sort of bigger and better next season. And as for the Breakdown, I don't actually know at the moment what's going to happen, but I'm hoping to continue with it, and I'm really hoping that it'll be back on the website this season, but I don't know if that's going to be the case or not yet.
Oh, fantastic! Well, all the best with that. That sounds brilliant. Really, really interesting. I'm going to be definitely tuning in for that. If you can get any spaces in the studio audience, then I'll put my hand up.
Well,
But
no, there'll be competition winners, I think, through is it my Arsenal rewards. I think there's going to be some spaces there, but there might be one or two spaces up for grabs for people like yourself that are on YouTube that are big Arsenal people, and whatnot. So yeah, no, I know you said that in jest, but there is a possibility,
oh wow,
down the line that good people like yourself that know about Arsenal, good talkers, that will get you involved, and you can come and watch the game with us.
that'd be brilliant. Oh, we shouldn't have said that. I'll be keep my hopes up from now on. Well, my voice has been terrible this evening, so I do apologise. But thank you ever so much, chat room. I'm so sorry that I haven't been as attentive as I normally am with this show. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please give us a like before you leave tonight, and tell your friends about the channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And I look forward to seeing you all again next week. And once again, Adrian, thank you ever so much, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
My
Take
pleasure.
care.